Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we'll return with round 4 of season 5 of our F124 driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here at the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, otherwise known as the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live at the end of last week from Suzuka, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We had quite an interesting race from Japan. It was by far and away, though, our worst race of the season so far, but we did still score a couple of points in that event. Fernando Alonso, 2 wins so far this campaign. That means he now has a 3-point lead at the top of the championship over George Russell. Max Verstappen and myself are still in P3 and P4 there. Verstappen still chasing his first race victory of the year. Both he and Sergio Perez every weekend seem to do worse than they did in the weekend prior. But yeah, I think all eyes are on whether this is finally going to be Aston Martin's year. Of course, Imola, one of my favourite tracks on the F1 calendar. This place has so much history within the sport as well. But inside this series, really has not gone well for me so far. Of course, obviously the 2 seasons we raced here with Ferrari, we could never walk away with the victory. Just so many things went wrong around this circuit. On the one hand, I'm kind of hoping, of course, that we can do well with Mercedes. On the other, it would really just go to show that there is an Italian Grand Prix curse inside F124. Get yourself subscribed if you're new around here as well. We're trying to hit 140,000 subs before the end of the year. And yeah, let's do this thing.
Welcome to the circuit named for Ferrari. It is qualifying at a special arena for motorsport. Welcome to Imola.
Well, I must admit, it does feel a little bit weird to be coming back here, obviously celebrating that World Championship with Ferrari, but of course no longer wearing that red suit this weekend, and of course hoping that we can still put on a good performance. I mean, this track on paper should be a really, really good one for us over the course of the season. I love Imola. I think it's one of the best tracks inside the F1 games as well. So fun to throw a car around in anger around this venue, and I mean there's so many special corners as well. Obviously the Gilles Villeneuve chicane there, Tosa, as we climb our way up the hill, but once again it looks like our qualifying battle is probably going to be between Verstappen, Alonso and the McLaren cars. But obviously we've improved every qualifying session this year. We've gone better than we have in the one prior, so hopefully we'll go better than 7th this weekend on the grid. At the moment, to make our way up and towards the chicane, that isn't quite happening there. It's just be very, very careful over the curbing through the chicane. Try and put the power down on the exit there. Just 2 more corners to go then of this lap, and are we about to see George Russell claim his first pole position since the season opener in Bahrain. 3 different pole sitters in the opening 3 Grand Prix, but Russell, he's going to become our first repeat one. We end up P4. I'm happy with that. Well, 5 drivers from 5 different teams making up your top 5 there, but it is going to be Oscar Piastri that tries to fly the flag for Ferrari from 5th on the grid. Russell takes pole position by just 0.5 of a second over Verstappen. Lance Stroll getting the better of Fernando Alonso. Of course, World Championship leader Fernando Alonso there, only down in 6th place, so our fellow Brit will be looking to try and take big points out of him this weekend. Hamilton up inside the top 10 there, so I guess we can be pretty happy with that one. His first top 10 since the season opener in Bahrain. 32 laps ahead of us though. Can we finally shake off our Italian Grand Prix demons?
This place has gone by many titles. The Italian Grand Prix, the San Marino Grand Prix, and now it's the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Welcome to Grand Prix Sunday. 3.1 miles of track at Imola, featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula 1 tracks as it's driven anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Stroll, Firestarter, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Perez, Fittipaldi, Hamilton, Sainz, Ocon, Tsunoda, Gasly, Ricciardo, Iwasa, Albon, Joe, Vesti and Ollie Behrman. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Well, I'll be honest, I just kind of hold first gear in and then let go of it and try not to wheel spin too much inside this game. I want to know as well why Ollie Behrman is picking up so many grid penalties early on this season, because yeah, he and Williams seem to start every race right from the back of the field. But yeah, we're on the second row for the first time, so I'm hoping that'll lead into some good race pace as well. Once again, it's mediums to hard seems to be the strategy. We're really not changing that up all too much unless we get a safety car in these GPs. 5 red lights though here on the grid. And it's going to be a mighty long hole, but it is lights out, and away we go there. It looks like we've actually responded quite well to the lights. We've got Oscar Piastri, of course, trying to have a look for something in towards turn 1. Verstappen immediately. I'll have a look past George Russell there as round the outside of Lance Stroll. We will go straight up into P3 then off the start. But of course, yeah, both of these two want to try and take points out of Alonso this weekend. Verstappen still chasing down his first Grand Prix victory of the season. Of course, obviously, narrowly missed out in the opening 2 rounds. Last time out at Suzuka, though, appeared that Red Bull just struggled a little bit more against, obviously, the Aston Martins and the McLaren cars there. But, of course, yeah, this has been a happy hunting ground for Verstappen in years gone by. Of course, I believe won this race for the last... Has he won this Grand Prix for the last 4 years in a row? Obviously, no, there was no race in 2023, was there, of course? So, yeah, Verstappen... obviously won in 2021, won in 2022, and of course obviously in 2024 as well. So he'll be looking to try and add another Emilia Romagna Grand Prix to his collection. I think if this track is going to be sticking around longer term in Formula 1, rename it the San Marino Grand Prix. I always thought that was so cool, and obviously a nice little F1 oddity as well there. But looks like our top 3 trying to break away. Looking on the mini-map, it would appear that Alonso didn't get off to a particularly good start either, as kind of just already found himself a bit detached from your top 5 runners early on. But my plan is just to kind of watch Russell and Verstappen try and battle, and then see if we can find a good moment to capitalise. Well, never ideal when the car in front of you just doesn't go off of the corner there. Russell, I heard a spike in revs coming from that McLaren, so I think, yeah, just got a load of wheel spin off the corner and just tried to gather it up. Will that leave him vulnerable, though, as we make the way back down in towards turn 1? I want to try and... What is that? The AI on this game, I tell you what, sometimes are mental. As Russell there absolutely slams the door on me in a straight line down towards turn 1. Tried to even look for a move past Verstappen as well. But somehow we're all still going in the right direction. And again, Russell, you just cannot get the power down off of that chicane there, and it's really costing both of us against Verstappen. I guess this time around we should be a little bit wiser to where he tries to defend through those final couple of corners, but it could be the second time George Russell has collided with the Mercedes on the run down towards turn 1 here at Imola, as again he's just going to swing over right at the last moment there. We're both pretty limited in terms of our top speed, but Russell again, I mean, what's he doing? I mean, this is just giving Verstappen so much breathing room at the front of the order, and it's just slowing us down. Right, well, now George has cost himself the DRS to Verstappen. Hopefully he's going to be even more vulnerable back down towards turn 1. I'm not a fan of the way George Russell is driving today. I think I made that abundantly clear early on, but by getting that slipstream run, we've launched ourselves back in the DRS of Verstappen. Let's not forget, what's that, 4 of your top 5 drivers so far in this race yet to win a Grand Prix this season. Here we go then, Max Verstappen next up on the old hit list. And I mean, yeah, again, without the DRS, it's a pretty easy pass.
Nice work. That's why I love working with you. Smashed it.
Mark there hyping us up. He clearly loved that one as well, which is always good news. But I'll tell you what, yeah, obviously we led for about 3 seconds back at Albert Park, so to actually get hopefully a few laps under our belt this season at the front of the order would be quite nice there. But yeah, the car feels really good this weekend. It's quite good in kind of the changes of direction. We saw it was pretty decent through the S's at Suzuka, obviously before I picked up that front wing damage later on in the Grand Prix, but hopefully now We're going to try and control this one at the front for a few laps. That being said, though, Verstappen might just soar past me again. Oh, no. Again, just this car gets a little bit tail happy there, and, well, a slightly dangerous block of Fernando Alonso as we try and get rolling again, but it seems to be so sensitive when you throw it off the exit of the curve there, as here comes the Spaniard anyway, down towards turn 1. Just get those little moments where it just, the rear end just snaps out slightly, and we don't really know what's going on with it. Luckily, again, we've been able to keep the car in one direction and pointing the right way, but we're straight back down to P5. Well, I guess now we've got to try and climb our way back up the order once again, but what that has done is allowed, obviously, Russell and Verstappen to start battling for the lead. It looks like Stroll barely hanging on to their coattails at the front there, and Oscar Piastri kind of doing the same with Sir Lance as well. The gap now up to 0.8 of a second, but I don't know whether the Canadian, he might just have lost the DRS to our top two there. He might still just about be inside the range, but these could be quite critical laps then of this Grand Prix once again there, as I don't think Stroll's got the DRS. We certainly do. As we will pull to the outside of Oscar Piastri there, and you can just see how quick that Ferrari is top end. Oh, Stroll as well, just moving around slightly onto a defensive line into that first corner. And, well, Mercedes power has won all 3 Grand Prix so far this campaign. But Ferrari power certainly has the top end advantage. Right, come on then, let's try and get a run again on Oscar Piastri here. We know we can get up to him. It's just once we get him into 8th gear, that Ferrari absolutely cooks. As Stroll there going to try and defend in towards turn 1. Oh, we trying to have a look down the inside, but Stroll again just thought about a move down the inside of Oscar Piastri. I do not want front wing damage. I do not want contact this weekend again. So Oscar Piastri now moves that Ferrari into the podium places, and I don't think it's a kind of Italian curse with Ferrari. I just think we're cursed here at Imola. Well, let's see if Lance Stroll's going to be able to get back past Oscar Piastri again.
Try to keep up this momentum. Gap to your teammate behind, 7.0 seconds.
I mean, look at that. The Ferrari, it absolutely flies past everything else. The Aston Martin barely gets in front of him before he has to back out. No idea what's going on with Alonso this weekend, but he is just lacking pace right the way throughout there. As, just trying to take as much curve as we can through the Zio Villeneuve chicane. Oscar Piastri, though, nervous. As we'll have a look around the outside through Tosa. Will we be able to get the throttle down on the exit again? You can still see him trying to defend the inside line there. Up through the top of the hill, we will go. Clean around the outside there of Oscar Piastri and back into P4. That was a brave attempt, but fair play to the Australian. He did give me the room. He even managed to get him out of the DRS range immediately. And surely this time around, then Mercedes power versus Mercedes power, no DRS assistance. And we will sail around the outside of Lance Stroll again in towards someone there. The Canadian tries to hang on. So here we go. Verstappen and Russell wheel to wheel at the front of the order. That's going to bring us a little bit closer. I'm not going to dive into the pits just yet.
Which means we've got extra performance in hand. So let's push and use it all up.
I want to know how the team think I can use up all that extra fuel. But yeah, I'm not going to box now. I'm actually going to give Hamilton first stop. We're going to come in a couple of laps because these mediums are still feeling pretty good. There we go, George Russell and Max Verstappen into the pit lane then. So we are going to be trying to work the overcut here. Lance Stroll's going to stay out there with me, so we will get the use of the DRS back down towards turn 1. But these next couple of laps, they have got to be qualifying efforts to try and make sure that we've got the advantage for the second half. Or do we try to extend the stint even further and then move to softs for the end? That might be a shout. But as everybody else then is going to peel into the pit lane, I'm looking at our tyre wear here, and it's really not that bad at the moment.
It's time to utilise some of this energy. Come on.
I reckon we could take these tyres to about lap 18, move over to softs, and then be really fast towards the end of the afternoon. What is going to be the gap to Verstappen, though? Oh, he's way further behind. I don't know how much it'll be, but we'll have to monitor it, see how much time he takes out of me. Oh, there we go. So Verstappen is about 30 seconds behind, and yet again, it would appear that we've got a Sauber breaking down in yet another Grand Prix this year. Don't tell me that's Fred Vesti again. Really, I mean, Yeah, no, it's Zhou Guanyu.
On show for you. They're retiring from the race.
So poor old Zhou Guanyu then, our first casualty of the afternoon, and well, Sauber. I think it's a bit of a miracle they haven't gone bankrupt yet with the performance they've been having this game.
There's an incident in the next part of the track. No overtaking through the yellow flags.
I will never forget, all the way back in Season 1, Azerbaijan, Valtteri Bottas got a podium, and then genuinely later on that day, Sauber got nerfed into the ground on this game. Well, this is a big, big gamble in terms of the strategy, and we've been watching Verstappen take seconds out of me in these last few laps. But into the pits we're going to go then. What on earth's happened to Alonso? Why is Alonso right at the back of the field? I've only just noticed that. So Alonso must have had an absolute disaster then. He's had to, I mean, I can only assume he's had to pit twice to end up that far behind the rest of your order in this Grand Prix. But championship leader Alonso then having an absolute stinker of a weekend.
Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I think we're going to come out between Alonso and I believe it might be Carlos Sainz again, running really, really well in this Grand Prix. As Oscar Piastri now, he's actually going to take the lead here, so this would be a huge day for Ferrari if he's able to walk away with the victory there, as there goes Verstappen again, trying to have a look round him. We will come back out in P5, and immediately Verstappen's gone through, but Carlos Sainz, how on earth is he running that well in that V-carb? Well, now we're getting the tyres up to temperature. I had originally assumed we'd get undercut by way more than we have done here, but 5 cars from 5 different teams making up your top 5 is technically 6 from 6 inside your top 6 there, but it could go to any of us at this stage of the race. But now, on our soft compounded tyre, we've really got to try and make an impact. We've really got to try and move through on these next couple of laps there against these guys. If we can get out in front and just build up a little bit of a buffer, then surely these tyres will hang on to the end of the GP there. As tucked up in the wheel tracks of Lance Stroll, we'll pull to the outside of the Aston Martin there, having to use so much battery down towards someone. Piastri almost into the back of Max Verstappen once again, as we will almost bang wheels with Lance Stroll there, but we've just got to be quick but careful. Got to make moves happen, as Hamilton in the other Mercedes also seems to be having a decent race. I mean, a fresh set of soft compound tyres versus some worn-in hards. Surely we're going to have the advantage here. Surely we can keep trying to pick up moves. You don't see overtakes down here very often. That's exactly what we're going to do. Down the inside of George Russell, of course, the man that originally started out in this Mercedes seat. But Max Verstappen at the front of the order. We're going to set another new fastest lap of the day there as Oscar Piastri. Whoa, where on earth is everybody going there? That Ferrari is so quick in a straight line. It's almost into the back of him, though, down in turn 1. And we again have to just cut over the escape road and through the gravel trap. Luckily, able to keep the car pointing in the right direction. But again, just a little mistake when trying to battle for the lead. Right, well, let's see again then. Just 10 laps left after this one of the Grand Prix. No, we certainly aren't, Mark. I mean, what is this? This series, the racing so far has been absolutely mental, as Russell again tries to squeeze me out, and somehow only Verstappen and Piastri swap places and all of that going on. I think George Russell senses that if I get through, we might be able to run away. And yeah, Mark wants me past their former driver. I mean, everyone apart from Verstappen in front has driven for Mercedes at some point in this series. So, yeah, they know how those guys are going to drive. They know what this means to everybody here. But Verstappen and I, and Oscar Piastri, and Lance Stroll even, everybody still wants to try and get their first win of the year, really kick off their championship hunt. But so far, yeah, only Russell and Alonso have been able to do so there, as again Russell struggling to put the power down on the exit of the chicane there. Can we get to the outside?
Great stuff. It looked like you made easy work of that target. Let's try and keep that going right through to the end of the race.
I mean, we are really tripping each other over there, but round the outside we'll go finally of the McLaren man back up into P3 then of this race. Now we've got to try and attack Oscar. Is he going to be able to look for a move on Verstappen? Yes, he is. Will he get the move done, though? No, he won't. And Max Verstappen again. Oscar Piastri, wheel to wheel through the first couple of corners there. Oscar Piastri has to back out. And again, we just get the speed, but not where we need it. Contact with the Ferrari there as Verstappen pinched us into the apex. Oscar Piastri, we bang wheels. I don't know whether he's got front wing damage, but we've certainly got some underfloor damage. Will that cost the Ferrari, man? Let's have a look through this next corner. This will be the big telling point for us.
Critical damage to the floor, be careful.
Oscar Piastri, I think he's okay. I think he can continue on, but that is massive. No, he can. Oscar Piastri's definitely got front wing damage in that. So Ferrari's Imola curse inside this game, or at least always with me, is going to once again rear its ugly head. And it looks like Ferrari right in the shout of winning. And it's all going to go wrong. Will we see the Australian pit, or will he just try and hang on for a podium place towards the end of this? Let's wait and see as Verstappen... Surely we're going to be able to try and attack the Dutchman now after his interesting antics last lap.
Windows open, so let's box this lap.
Piastri opts to stay out there. We are going to take the lead of the Grand Prix as we get to 3/4 distance. I mean, surely Oscar will still walk away with about P5, P6. Let's see if we can walk away from the Dutchman. Well, I tell you what then, with a handful of laps to go here from Imola, their strategy call really does look to have been the right one for us. We got a little bit lucky with the fact that some of our front runners got slowed up.
Speed limit will be penalised if we exceed it. Keep that in mind as you approach.
I saw the likes of Verstappen get caught up behind Fred Vesti after he pit there, but yeah, we're trying to just leave the Dutchman in our wake now late on in the day. We've seen 2 of Mercedes customer teams already take victories this year. Obviously, we got that P2 at Albert Park, but yeah, we really want to try and get a win on the board for the Brackley-based squad as well. 5 laps left here from Imola. As long as the engine doesn't go bang, I don't see what can go wrong from here. Well, despite the odd strategy, despite the underfloor damage, despite every aggressive AI moment in this Grand Prix, as we're about to start the last lap here from Imola, I still don't want to speak too soon until we get to the checkered flag, but it finally looks like we are going to walk away with a long-awaited victory around this venue. I love this circuit. It's genuinely one of my favourites on this game. It's genuinely one that I always feel competitive at as well, not only against the AI, but against other people, and it's a very, very special place in Formula 1, and it might not always deliver the best races IRL, but I certainly do think, you know, the history around this circuit should never be forgotten either, and how far Formula 1 has come in its time racing around this venue. But as we make our way, though, through the final few corners, as I mentioned, obviously Mercedes, we've watched our customer teams, McLaren and Aston Martin, each take victories so far this year. I think we're going to need quite a miracle for Williams to do the same, but we knew this engine had the power in it to be competitive. We knew we just needed to upgrade some parts on the car. The European spec version of the car rocked up here at Imola, and immediately it has instilled confidence in us. Through the final corner, we never were able to do it for Ferrari, but here for Mercedes, we win the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix.
Yes! Come on, boys! Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
They take the checkered flag then here in Imola, in what has been another outstanding Grand Prix.
The race victory and fastest lap as well today really shows the level of dominance that this driver had over the opposition. Dominance from the start to finish, and it's for the rest of the competition to try and catch them now.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Well, there we are then. Finally, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix is ours. Finally, we have got a victory on the board for Mercedes. And I tell you what, even Hamilton looked to be a bit stronger this weekend as well there. Max Verstappen, his third second-place finish of the campaign. When, oh when, are we going to see the Dutchman break his curse this season? George Russell in P3, they're ahead of Oscar Piastri and Lance Stroll. Lando, Norris, Lewis Hamilton, Sainz, Fittipaldi and Gasly rounding out your top 10. So Lewis and Enzo both getting points, and it really does look like, yeah, Ferrari and Mercedes have caught up with Red Bull, McLaren and Aston Martin here. Further down the order, any other big surprises? I mean, Perez down in P13 is pretty disappointing, but just Zhou Guanyu obviously retiring from the race, and of course, yeah, Alonso, who did have to pit twice there, down in P17. So yeah, really a weekend to forget for the Spaniard. What does that do to our championship? Well, it closes everything right back up again at the top of the table. Russell now with a 7-point lead over Verstappen. Alonso 12 back there, tied with ourselves. So yeah, 4 drivers still, less than a race wins margin in it. Oscar Piastri ahead of Stroll. Lando Norris still waiting for a big result this year, ahead of Perez there. Sainz still in 9th. After scoring points in every single Grand Prix so far. Hamilton now gets ahead of most of our backmarker teams. Enzo Fittipaldi there with points on the board. Just now leaves Riccardo Iwasa, both Williams and both Saubers. Constructors-wise, well, there's 9 points in it between your top 3 in the Constructors table. Mercedes now just edging away from Ferrari a little bit more as well there. But what a win! What a way to do it. What a place to do it. Really, really happy with that result. Hopefully that means now we're going to be able to try and attack for a championship. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back later on this week when Formula 1 returns ready, I believe, in Monaco.